Sounds like you just, your mom gave you the freedom and the trust to live your life.
Yes.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my next video. Today we're in for something really special, a truly inspiring story. Today we're going to meet Kathy Lee. Hello, Kathy Lee.
Hi.
And you are out on the road. How long have you been on the road now?
I've been on the road since December of 2019, so that's almost 18 months, maybe 17 months. So yeah.
That's a long time. There's so many new people coming out.
Yeah, it's been quite a ride, but it's been good.
Yeah. And you have some physical handicaps that make it a little more difficult for you than most people.
Yes, I do have cerebral palsy. I was born with cerebral palsy about 66 years ago. And at the time they diagnosed me at 18 months, they wanted to institutionalize me. Back then in 1954, that was the thing to do. If the baby wasn't perfect like you want, you just institutionalized them. And so my mom said, no, we will take Kathy Lee. Well, the doc said, Hazel, she would never walk or talk or lead a productive life. You might as well just send her to an institution and go on and live your life. And Mom is a very stubborn, independent soul. And she's passed now. And she said, well, we will bring Kathy Lee home and see how far she goes. And so, and I was born in Texas, and we moved to Colorado. And so going up in the mountains and fishing with my 4 siblings was my physical therapy. And, it wasn't a very normal life. In the 60s, he left the house at 7 and he came back at 5. And, no worries. We biked and hiked and everything. So, Mom basically gave me the gift of independence and the gift of, just go as far as it can.
Sounds like you just, your mom gave you the freedom and the trust to live your life.
Yes. Yeah, Mom, Mom, personal life had some difficulties. She was married 4 times, so the dynamics of that was hard on the family. But when it came to my development, she was spot on, And I was very blessed.
So you've proved those doctors very, very wrong.
Very wrong. So the bottom line is you follow your gut, and you don't listen to the professionals all the time.
Right.
You follow your gut. My younger years were in Colorado, and life happens, and we moved to Minnesota, and that's where I graduated high school and went to college, and I majored in therapeutic recreation, a BS in that. And so I worked in that field for a couple of 3 years, and then I met my, I got married, and through that marriage, um, sometimes you make good decisions and bad decisions. It was a difficult marriage. We were married for 20, 23 years. But through that marriage, I, the Lord blessed me with three amazing kids. I homeschooled two of them, K through 12. My daughter is the oldest. She's a nurse. And my son um, is in the Air Force. And at 46, my pleasant surprise, I had another one.
Oh my.
And that was my youngest. And he's 21 now. And he's in the National Guard in Indiana. He's a medic, and he's vaccinating Indiana right now. So I was married 23 years. The marriage was, I knew I had made a mistake 2 weeks into the marriage. I thought, well, we can make this work. Well, I tried 23 years. I filed for divorce, and I don't call myself divorced. I'm liberated, and my kids were liberated to bloom, to grow, and find their path. And at 50, I found myself to be a single mom with a 4-year-old, and I had 14 more years to raise them as a single mom. So I thought, well, 64, we could do that. We made it. And so when he graduated at 18, I was 64. And the next year, I retired. And by that time, I learned about your videos, CheapRVLiving, and I thought, well, I can do that. I've been camping all my life, I can do that. So I sold my home and bought this van, and it took me about a year to build it out with the nomadic community, my friends and family. But yeah, it's my home now with Ollie. So yeah. And because of the small footprint of my home, it's easy for me to get everything I need. In fact, I stayed in a motel about 2 months ago, and I hated it because it was so big, so big, and so I like the small footprint.
Yeah, I lived in a van for 6 years, then I was moved into a house, and I hated every second of living in that house. All the wasted space.
I know. And you think, I, I don't know how long I will be doing this. My goal is to travel until I'm 70 and then decide where I will be planted. Um, so I'm thinking, well, if I go from this to a house, it has to be a tiny house
Yeah.
for me to really be comfortable, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we'll see how it unfolds.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yes. And after 18 months, and are you glad you did it? Is this the life you had hoped
yeah,
it would be?
yeah, that's it. Like I said, that I've been on the racetrack for all my life, you know, just growing up and then getting married and then getting liberated and then raising my youngest. So I was always needing to push myself to do what I needed to do. And I didn't have time to really sit back and think. It was just like, well, the priorities you had to do. So this is my time to be able to sit back and think
Right.
and analyze, you know, what I've been through. Like um, Socrates says, analyzed life is a good life.
Yes. So I know there are a lot of, I get letters and emails from people with some physical limitations.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have a message for them?
Yes, yes. Um, you know, you have to realize what the cards you have been given or the situation you have been given, and you have to either decide one or two, decide whether to be miserable all your life and make other people miserable around you, or just say, hey, it is what it is, and to make the best of it. Do, do I enjoy having cerebral palsy? No, I don't. No, I don't. Um, you know, it keeps me humble and it keeps me grounded. If anybody desires to come out on the road with a physical disability or, you know, just it is possible. You just have to be realize that you got to be independent. You can't always depend on other people, although people help me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it so much. But you know, at the end of the day, you need to be as independent as you can physically and mentally too. And you know, you just can't just go out without preparing and and tr- and think everybody will take up the slack.
Right.
Because sometimes they do, sometimes, most of the time, they don't.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Mm.
Would it be okay if we took a look around your van?
Yes, yes,
Very good.
yes.
So folks, this has been a pretty long video. We're going to stop here, but you need to be sure and come back to our next video when we'll look around and see exactly how Kathy Lee has set up her van. So be sure to come back for that. Thanks again, Kathy Lee.
Thank you. Bye.